Welcome to Hey Movie Recaps. We will be explaining about Matilda, a young girl with extraordinary powers and a fierce love of learning. Despite facing challenges and adversity, she uses her courage and intelligence to stand up for herself and those she cares about, ultimately finding a happy and loving home. Before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button just like you clicked to open this video. You can send me a message on my Instagram to feature your service or product in the next video description for free. Without further ado, let's dive into the story. As the movie begins, we see a bustling hospital filled with proud new parents cooing over their precious newborns. But Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood stand out in the crowd, still in shock over the surprise arrival of their daughter Matilda. Despite their initial disbelief, they eventually embrace parenthood and raise Matilda, though they constantly refer to her as a boy. Matilda is an exceptionally bright and curious young girl who loves nothing more than losing herself in the pages of a good book. Her only friend is the kind-hearted librarian, Mrs. Phelps. When a school inspector and one of the teachers from Cruncham Hall come to visit the Wormwood household, they express concern over the fact that Matilda has not been sent to school. Miss Honey, the teacher, tells Matilda about all the exciting subjects she will get to learn. Mr. Wormwood, however, is more concerned about being fined for not properly educating his daughter and decides to ask the fearsome headmistress, Agatha Trunchbull, to intervene. In response, Matilda takes matters into her own hands and sneakily puts hair dye in her father's tonic, turning his hair green. By the time anyone notices, she's already back in her room, safe and sound. The following morning, Matilda sets off on foot for her first day at Cruncham Hall, arriving a full hour early. She is spotted by Mrs. Phelps, and the two spend some time together chatting. Matilda tells her a captivating tale about an escapologist and his acrobatic wife, who are known for their daredevil circus performances. Just as Matilda gets to the climax of the story, the couple's most impressive and dangerous stunt yet, the school bell rings, signaling the start of the school day. Matilda reluctantly leaves Mrs. Phelps behind and heads off to begin her education. As soon as she arrives at school, Matilda makes a new friend in another new student, Lavender. The two girls are soon approached by some older students who serve as prefects and try to warn them about what they are in for. When Matilda arrives in Miss Honey's class, she impresses her teacher by quickly solving a series of complex equations that had been written on the board, mistaking Miss Honey's request to polish off the board as a mutt problem. Miss Honey pays a visit to Trunchbull's office to tell her about Matilda's exceptional academic abilities, but the headmistress, who views all children as nothing more than maggots, refuses to listen. She brags about her own accomplishments as a hammer thrower and justifies her cruel treatment of the students by claiming it's the only way to run a proper school. Back at home, Mr. Wormwood brags to his family about his plans to sell luxury cars to some wealthy clients. Matilda, who has been listening in, takes issue with her father's questionable business practices and speaks up. In response, Mr. Wormwood spitefully tears up Matilda's library copy of The Grapes of Wrath. Matilda retaliates by sneaking some super glue into her father's hat. At school, Matilda meets a group of students who share her negative view of Cruncham Hall and its tyrannical headmistress. They tell her about Chokey, a shed in the woods used as a punishment by Trunchbull. One day, Nigel runs out of the classroom in a panic, having been accused by Trunchbull of pouring a treacle on her chair. Matilda comes up with a quick plan to hide Nigel under the blazers of the other students just as Trunchbull orders everyone to line up. She tells Trunchbull that Nigel has narcolepsy and that they were covering him to protect him from the sun. Trunchbull, always looking for an excuse to be cruel, singles out Amanda for her pigtails and violently swings her round by the hair, tossing her a great distance, though she is fortunately unharmed. As Matilda continues her tale for Mrs. Phelps, it's almost as if they are in the front row of the theater, watching the escapologist and acrobats show unfold before their eyes. She introduces a character based on the fearsome Trunchbull, the acrobat's cruel stepsister and a former hammer thrower. When the acrobat tries to back out of a risky stunt due to her pregnancy, the stepsister cruelly insists that she go through with it, citing a contract that the acrobat had signed. Matilda leaves the story hanging there, leaving Mrs. Phelps eager to find out what happens next. Miss Honey tells Matilda that she's bringing in a special collection of books just for her. But before they can enjoy the new reads, Trunchbull storms in, accusing one of the children of stealing her private chocolate cake. No one speaks up, but Bruce's loud burp gives away the fact that he's the guilty party. Trunchbull offers to forgive him, but only if he can finish a massive chocolate cake made by the lunch lady, even though he's already stuffed. The other kids cheer Bruce on, and he manages to eat every last crumb, even the cherries on top. However, Trunchbull still plans to punish Bruce by sending him to the dreaded Chokey. Despite Matilda's protests, Bruce is taken away. On their walk home, the children burst into song about their hopes and aspirations for the future. Matilda then returns to Mrs. Phelps to continue her story, in which the acrobat is forced to perform a death-defying stunt involving dynamite and a pool of hungry sharks. The escapologist tries to save her, but she falls and breaks every bone in her body. The doctors manage to save the acrobat's baby, but the strain of childbirth proves too much, and the acrobat passes away after entrusting her daughter to her husband's care. However, the wicked stepsister takes control and mistreats the little girl behind the escapologist's back. When Matilda arrives home, she learns that her dishonest father has sold some of his fake luxury cars to wealthy buyers, claiming that the cars had low mileage even though they had actually clocked over 100,000 miles. Disgusted, Matilda retreats to her room, where she continues her story on her own. In this latest chapter, the escapologist discovers just how poorly his daughter is being treated by the stepsister. He tries to rescue her, but he disappears without a trace. As Miss Honey attempts to give the students a fun and informative lesson, Trunchbull interrupts and forces them outside for a grueling physical education session. Despite the rainy weather, Matilda discovers that she has telekinetic powers and uses them to put a newt in Trunchbull's water cup. When Trunchbull accuses Eric of the prank and starts to viciously stretch his ears, Matilda uses her powers again to send the newt down Trunchbull's shirt and into her pants. Matilda then impresses Miss Honey by making a cup float with her mind. Miss Honey invites Matilda over for tea and shares her own personal story with the young girl. She reveals that her father was an escapologist and her mother was an acrobat, and that she was raised by her cruel step-aunt, none other than Trunchbull. Matilda realizes that Miss Honey's story was actually about her own life, and it becomes clear that Trunchbull may have had something to do with the disappearance of Magnus. Enraged by Trunchbull's cruelty, Matilda runs home in the rain and uses her powers to destroy the Chokey in the woods. When Matilda arrives home, she finds her parents frantically packing their bags. It turns out that the wealthy buyers whom Mr. Wormwood had duped were actually members of the mafia, and they have demanded their money back within 24 hours. Unfortunately, Mrs. Wormwood has already spent it all. Fearing for their lives, the Wormwoods decide to flee to Spain and force Matilda to come with them, leaving her no choice but to say goodbye to Miss Honey and the friends she has made. Heartbroken, Matilda leaves a note for Mrs. Phelps explaining that not every story has a happily ever after. Trunchbull gathers all of the students in a room as punishment for the destruction of the Chokey. She reveals that she has built an even more fearsome-looking Chokey and threatens to use it on Lavender after making her try to spell a made-up word. The other kids start to rebel and intentionally misspell other words so that Trunchbull won't be able to punish them all. She then admits that she has already made Chokeys for all of the children. Matilda uses her powers to write a message on the chalkboard, pretending to be Magnus and scaring Trunchbull. She then makes Trunchbull's hair look like pigtails and creates a humanoid figure out of chains, using it to destroy the other Chokeys and grab Trunchbull by the hair. She swings Trunchbull around the room like a hammer and launches her out through the roof. When Trunchbull lands, Miss Honey confronts her evil step-aunt and orders her to leave and never come back. Trunchbull runs off in fear, and all of the children cheer and celebrate their freedom from the tyrannical headmistress. Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood arrive to take Matilda with them, but Miss Honey offers to adopt her instead. Matilda's parents agree, and Matilda says goodbye to them on good terms after she helps her father get his hat unstuck. She then runs into Miss Honey's arms, overjoyed at the prospect of finally having a loving and supportive guardian. In the end, Miss Honey takes control of the school and renames it the Big Friendly School. Matilda gets to keep her friends and continue seeing Mrs. Phelps. Thank you for watching our movie explanation video. We appreciate your support as we continue to grow and our viewership increases on a daily basis. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a message on our Instagram page letting us know what service or product you'd like to see featured in our next video. This is a great opportunity for you to market your product or service to our 50% of American viewers for free. Keep in mind that we will be featuring only 5 random products or services, so make sure to get your request in soon. Thanks again, and we'll see you at the next one.